Good morning, my friends. Thank you once again for tuning into my YouTube channel. I hope you're well, or good afternoon, perhaps, depending on what time of the day you're listening to this, of course. It's right bang in the middle. It's not really in the middle. It's it's the beginning, I guess. I call it the beginning of the wedding season. So I've been shooting several weddings recently. One last Saturday, one this Saturday, a couple more before that. And it's great to be back in the saddle, as they say. Anyway, today I've got a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. And the main thing is I'm going to explain to you how, with the aid of the new update to Alien Skin Exposure, which is version 4.5, you can emulate, I won't say get exactly the same, but emulate the Eterna Film Simulation that we love in things like the X-T3. I'm filming this in Eterna right now. In some of the older Fujifilm cameras like the X100F, or even some of the newer ones like the GFX 50R, which don't have the Eterna Film Simulation. Now, it's not going to be for everybody, but there's lots of stuff on the internet about people who want the Eterna Film Simulation for stills in some of those older cameras. And of course, Fujifilm haven't put that film simulation in there for good reason. It's a very process intensive thing. However, Alien Skin have come out with an update to Alien Skin Exposure, version 4.5. I'll link to it below, and also I'll link to it above. And Alien Skin Exposure is a piece of software that I use a lot. It's something that maybe you might consider if you don't want to go down the subscription route with perhaps Lightroom. It's a fully immersive RAW editor. Some people love it, some people don't like it so much. I really love it. It's a very, very good application. And version 4.5 has brought out this very new feature where it will allow us to use LUTs. Now, a LUT is a lookup table, and I'll explain a little bit more when we go to the computer and I'll go through the workflow. But before I do that, I just want to mention, just very, very quickly, our FujiCast podcast that myself and Neil, you know Neil, right? You must Obviously, you've subscribed to Neil's YouTube channel. You absolutely have to. It's the most underrated YouTube channel that I think on the planet. It's amazing. Again, I'll link to Neil's stuff up the top here and below. And Neil's videos and his philosophy on his YouTube channel are just amazing and very beautiful films. However, Neil and I are now working together on a podcast called the FujiCast, and again I'll link to that everywhere, and you can get it anywhere: Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, all of those good places. Anywhere you can get your podcast, you'll be able to get the FujiCast. Now, the FujiCast is on episode 10. It's around about an hour long each week, and we try and have guest speakers and guest interviews, I should say, and we talk about all things photography. And actually, it's turned out that it's not specifically about Fujifilm gear. Most of the questions that we get that come in from the listeners are about Fujifilm stuff, and I answer those, of course. But generally, the whole theme of the podcast is about photography. So I really hope you tune into that. Listen, download. We're doing really well with it, and it's good. It's interesting. Once a week, me and Neil sit down together and we record these podcasts, and we have a little bit of a chuckle. It's basically two mates, essentially in a pub. We're not in a pub, but we might as well be in a pub, chatting about photography and answering your questions. So do pop along and listen to that if you can. Okay, so now I'm going to caveat what I'm about to show you with the fact that this is Alien Skin Exposure, like I say, version 4.5, and it's a way that we will be able to get something similar to the Eterna Film Simulation in all of our Fujifilm cameras. In fact, any camera that you have, you can try and use this against it. So it doesn't even necessarily need to be Fujifilm. We'll go to the computer and I'll explain it further there. So here we are in Alien Skin Exposure. Remember, it's version 4.5. Now, this is an original Fujifilm X100F image. It's a complete RAW file. I've reset it. It's straight out of the camera. There's no edits to it whatsoever. And the X100F is one of those cameras that many people would wish to have Eterna Film Simulation for stills, but sadly it doesn't. Now, Eterna originally was developed by Fujifilm, the film simulation at least, specifically for video, for filmmaking. And that's why it's in the Fujifilm X-T3, etc. And it's very good for that, in fact.
but you know, it actually also makes really nice stills, and we're never going to get anything from the older Fujifilm cameras in terms of Eterna Film Simulation. At least I don't think so. So Alien Skin Exposure version 4.5 will give us an opportunity to at least explore an Eterna look with our Fujifilm files. And in fact, as I said on the introduction, any camera that you use at all, because these are just using simple LUTs, lookup tables, which will allow us to implement those film simulations across any file whatsoever. Now, the Eterna Film Simulation is, like I said, it's designed for filming, but it has this kind of reddish, magenta-ishy type hue to it, and it's very beautiful. So I'm aiming to try and go from something like this, as we see now, to this, as we see in front of us, with one click. So this is a pretty accurate rendition, I think, of the Eterna Film Simulation. Now, you can apply this to RAW files quite comfortably, and you can apply it to JPEGs also, but you will get dramatically different results, and obviously a JPEG doesn't have the same latitude for editing against. So I would suggest you only try this really against RAW files that you want to try and get that Eterna look to those images. I'll show you in a moment how to add these LUTs and where to get the Eterna one from. Let's have a quick look at another image first, shall we? Let's see what we have. We've got, let's move away from this one. Let's have a look on the timeline. We've done that one. That's a little boy, my LB. Let's go to Spain. So this is my father-in-law, actually my mother-in-law's cat in Spain. We see her every summer. And this is a RAW file. I've just reset it, so straight out of the camera. It looks nice, actually. This is a GFX 50R image. Remember, the GFX does not have the Eterna Film Simulation. So let's see what that looks like with the Eterna LUT applied in Alien Skin Exposure. Okay, so there it is. I created a virtual copy earlier, and that's the image with the LUT applied. It's a little bit contrasty, a little bit saturated, but I'm going to show you how we can adjust this and how we can make things different in the file itself. Now, the first thing we have to do is get the LUT into Alien Skin Exposure. It comes with a set of default LUTs, but you can get millions of them on the internet, millions of them. Like I say, they're normally used for Premiere Pro. However, in this case, we're looking for this one from the Fujifilm website. It's a free download. You can just go to the LUT for F-log lookup table, as it says there. Download the file as it's come down there. It's a zip file. Now, once you've downloaded and extracted the file, you'll get this folder here. And when we open it up, you will see that inside there you have different versions for different cameras. They're very similar actually, and I'm going to take the X-T3 one, and you have the cube file. Okay, this is the important thing here. The cube file is the file that we need to bring into Alien Skin Exposure. By default, you have those three there. Now, I typically will rename that one the Eterna one, call it whatever you want. As you can see here, I'm just saying rename it, but I've already renamed the one above to xt3_Eterna, and that's simply because it makes it easier to see it when we take it into Alien Skin Exposure. Okay, so let's head back to Alien Skin, and remember, you have to have version 4.5. This is a recent upgrade, just a couple of weeks ago, as of April 2019, 4.5. 4.5 is a free upgrade from 4.0, and you won't have the LUT ability in any other version of Alien Skin Exposure. So if you do have version 4, I strongly suggest that you upgrade to 4.5 straight away. Now, once we're in there, we go over to the right-hand side, and you'll see there's a new panel. I'm just going to change that image. There's a new panel on the right-hand side called LUT. It's a little drop down there. So I'm going to hit the Browse button, and you'll see that you have lots of different options here. You can view the existing ones. You can view any of the ones you've imported previously. There's lots of different stuff in there. So that's all pretty good and pretty standard for Alien Skin kind of interface. Different to your Lightroom, but pretty standard. So you point to the cube file. It has to be a .cube file, remember, for this LUT to work. And I'm just going to put it into my own category there. I've called it X-T3 Eterna. I'm just going to click OK. I've already previously imported this, obviously. And there we have it. It's in there. Okay, so it's a very simple process to install that into Alien Skin. Then on the right hand side, when I drop down, I can see my category and I have my Eterna LUT there. Simple as that. Now in this case, you'll see when I've just applied that LUT, I think it's too red, it's too contrasty, it's probably a little bit too bright. So you have the intensity slider here, which is amazing, because this means we could just pull down the strength of the LUT, the LUT file, which is great because it'll give us so much more control. Now this is something you just can't do very easy in Lightroom with presets. Just going to change the highlights a little bit, and maybe just do some basic tone curve adjustments just to get the image as I so wish. So remember, a LUT file is typically used on log files, so that's raw video footage. So I would suggest you do your exposure correction as well when you apply your LUT file, and you're going to get to the image that you want to see. Okay, let's take a wedding image, shall we? Let's just straighten it up a little bit. This is one of my favorite images from a couple of months ago. Just going to change the exposure a little bit. I'm going to do the tone curve as usual, bring down the blacks a little bit, pump up the highlights, and then I'm going to go down to the LUT. Okay, in that panel, just select XT3 Eternal, and look, boom, it's probably way too red. It's not what I want. This actually would be really useful if you wanted to get film still, or if you wanted to get stills to match any movie and footage that you've done in Eterna. So I'm just going to bring the intensity down again and see what we get. And I'm kind of happy with that. And it's very accurate. I think it looks a very honest representation of the Eterna Film Simulation. Okay, let's have a look at this one from a day in the life shoot. Just going to reset it so you can see. I'm going to create a virtual copy so we can work against a separate image. And as you can see, I shot that in black and white originally, as I always do. I'm going to increase the exposure. I'm going to crop it again, or just change the orientation very slightly, just straighten it up a little bit. Tone curve. Again, this is a GFX 50R image, remember. Just change the white balance as well, just warm it up a little tiny bit using the white balance picker in Alien Skin. And then it's time for the LUT. Let's see what we get. So again, too red. So I'm going to bring down the intensity. And there we have it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that. In fact, I'm very happy with that. Looks good. Now, as I said, LUTs are different to presets, so you can use any LUT that's out there, a paid for one, a free one, whatever you want. There's absolutely thousands of them out there. You just go to Google and you just type in free LUTs, or I would type in free LUT.cube file, because LUTs can come in different formats, but it has to be a .cube file for Alien Skin Exposure to read it. And there we go, all of a sudden you've got loads. And now remember that these LUTs will not look amazing straight out of the box in every case. Some of them may, but probably not. You probably will need to do a little bit of work with them. And I think it's offering a lot of opportunity for us to explore different filmic looks, especially. LUTs are generally used against movies to try and give them a more cinematic look. Okay, let's try it against this wedding image, Jack and Haley. So I'm just going to create a virtual copy here. Again, shot in black and white, so we'll wait for that to render down. White balance adjustment, very simple, just to kind of make it a bit better. Straighten it again, as I nearly always have to do on my images. Tone curve, same thing, very simple workflow. I might just bring the exposure up a little bit there as well, drop the highlights on the dress, bring down the slider to the LUT, select the LUT, and again, a bit too red, so I'm going to pull it back. Now, I imagine that if you had been filming this wedding in Eterna on your XT3, or on, you'd be taking stills on a different camera, but filming on XT3, and you want some stills, then, it's a great way of managing that workflow. Maybe let's try this one last image, another GFX image. So create a virtual copy. It's a very simple workflow. I'm going to change the white balance off the whites of the eyes, often a very good place to get the white balance from. Tone curve, let's just do that, brighten it up a little bit, bring it down in the shadows. It's okay. Go down to my LUT, Turner. Whoa, now see that, way too orange, so it's not worked very well against that at all. So I'm going to bring that intensity right down. Okay, and there we have it. So that was the original one, it's nice. And then the one with the Eterna Film Simulation, or sorry, the Eterna LUT, I should say LUT, not Film Simulation. It's not a preset, it's a LUT, a very different thing. And that's pretty much it. There really isn't much to it. Alien Skin Exposure version 4.5. You can, of course, use LUTs from anywhere. And this is a really brief overview, really, of trying to give you an idea of how you can use the Eterna Film Simulation, which has been generated by Fujifilm very kindly as a free LUT to download. And you can apply that against any camera you so wish, X100F, X Pro 2, X Pro 1, XF10, whatever you want. You can try it and play around with it. So Alien Skin Exposure, you have to have version 4.5, remember. And I think it's pretty cool. pretty nice way to try and get that Eterna Film Simulation into our files.
Okay, there you go. That's it. Pretty simple, straightforward, using lookup tables in alien skin exposure. Remember, you have to have version 4.5. 4.5 is a free upgrade if you've got version 4. Otherwise, I do encourage you to try out alien skin exposure. It's a really, really cool tool. Again, I'll link to it below, as I said earlier. That's it. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy shooting, snapping, photographing, whatever you're doing this week. And I shall see you next time.